A U.S. Navy captain dares to confront President Trump on his own yacht. What he says next could jeopardize Trump's latest trade policy. The yacht was buzzing with celebration. President Trump stood on the deck, surrounded by aides and a few close allies, his voice booming as he praised his latest trade deal. "It's a fantastic deal, folks, the best. Nobody does trade better than me, believe me," he proclaimed, gesturing animatedly, a wide smile on his face. But not everyone was applauding. Captain Daniel Hayes, a former U.S. Navy officer now at the helm of the yacht, had heard enough. His expression was stern, his fists clenched, and he stepped forward, interrupting Trump mid-sentence. "President, we need to talk. Your tariffs are hurting us," he called out, his voice cutting through the chatter like a ship's horn. Trump turned, his eyes narrowing, pointing directly at Hayes. "What's that, Captain? You're interrupting my celebration." "Not a good move. Not good at all," he snapped, his tone sharp, his finger jabbing the air. Hayes stood his ground, his military posture firm, his gaze fixed on Trump. "I've served this country for 20 years, sir, and I've never seen a policy harm the little guy like this. Your tariffs are driving up costs on everything. We need fuel, equipment, spare parts. Small shipping businesses like mine are struggling, and you're the one holding the rope," he said, his voice steady but filled with barely contained frustration. The aides froze. A woman in a dark blazer clutching her clipboard, another man in a suit stepping back. The tension on the deck was palpable. Trump took a step closer, his face reddening. "You're telling me my tariffs, which are saving American jobs, are the issue? That's fake news, Captain. Total fake news. I'm making America great again, and you just don't see it," he fired back, his voice rising, that familiar rhythm kicking in, the one he uses when he's rallying a crowd. Hayes shook his head, his hands on his hips. "I'm seeing plenty, sir. I'm seeing my crew lose their jobs. I had to lay off 5 men last month, 5 good men with families. How is that saving American jobs? You're taxing us into the ground while the big corporations get away with everything." Trump scoffed, throwing his hands up. "Listen, Captain, I've got the best people, the smartest people working on this. These tariffs are targeting China. They're hitting all the countries that have been taking advantage of us for years. We're bringing jobs back. Millions of jobs, believe me. You're not seeing the big picture, and I've got a great picture. The best picture," he said, his tone a mix of defensiveness and bravado, his finger pointing again inches from Hayes' chest. But Hayes remained unfazed. "The big picture, sir, is that my supplier in Japan raised prices 40% because of your tariffs. I can't afford to keep my boats running at those costs. My clients are leaving, literally, because I can't compete with the big companies who can absorb the losses. You're putting us under. And what you?" he said, his voice rising, his frustration spilling over. Trump tilted his head, his lips pursing. Then he leaned in, his voice dropping slightly but still commanding. "You want to talk about competition? I'm the best at competition. Nobody competes better than me. These tariffs are ensuring American companies win, not the little guys in Japan or anywhere else. You've got to adapt, Captain. That's business. That's how it works," he said, his hands slicing the air for emphasis, his tone dismissive. Hayes stepped forward, closing the gap, his eyes blazing. "Adapt? I've been adapting my whole life, sir. I adapted when I served in the Navy. I adapted when I started this business, with nothing but a loan and a dream. But this isn't adapting. This is surviving. And right now I'm not sure I can survive your policies." The deck was silent, the aides exchanging nervous glances, the woman in the blazer whispering something to another staffer. But no one dared interrupt. Trump straightened up, his jaw tightening. "You know what, Captain? I respect you. I do. You've served, you're a patriot. I love patriots. But you're wrong, so wrong. My tariffs are the best thing for this country, the best. You're not seeing it, but you will. You'll thank me later, believe me," he said, his voice softer now but still firm, his hand waving as if to dismiss the whole argument. Hayes shook his head slowly, his voice low but cutting. "I don't need to thank you, sir. I need to pay my crew. I need to keep my business afloat, and right now your tariffs are the storm that's sinking me." Trump's face flushed, his eyes narrowing. "A storm? I'll tell you about storms, Captain. I've been through storms, political storms, media storms, the worst storms, and I always come out on top. Always. You think your little boat business is a storm? It's a puddle, okay?" "A puddle," he said, his tone sharp, his hands gesturing wildly again, the way he does when he's doubling down. Hayes crossed his arms, his voice steady but laced with defiance. A puddle to you, maybe, but to me it's my life, my crew's lives. You're sitting here on this yacht celebrating a deal that's crushing us. How can you call that a win for America? Trump threw his hands up, exasperated. Because it is a win, Captain. A huge win. I'm winning for America. I'm winning for the workers. The real workers, not the ones complaining about a few extra bucks for fuel. You've got to think bigger, much bigger, he said, his voice booming now, his finger jabbing the air again. Hayes didn't flinch, his tone calm but firm. I'm thinking about my men, sir. I'm thinking about the families who can't pay their bills because of your win. You say you're for the little guy, but all I see is the big guy getting bigger while we're left to sink. The woman in the blazer stepped forward, her voice low, trying to intervene. Mr. President, perhaps we should. But Trump cut her off, his hand raised. No, I've got this. I'm handling it. I always handle it, he said, his tone sharp, his eyes still locked on Hayes. Then he turned back to the captain, his voice dropping but still carrying that commanding edge. You want to talk about sinking? I've saved this country from sinking, okay? I've saved it from bad deals, bad trade, bad everything. You're not sinking, Captain. You're just not swimming fast enough, he said, his tone a mix of sarcasm and conviction, his finger pointing one last time. Hayes shook his head, his voice steady, unyielding. I've been swimming my whole life, sir, but you've just tied an anchor to my legs. If this is what saving America looks like, then maybe you're saving the wrong people, he said, his words sharp, his stance firm. Trump's face hardened, his lips pressing into a thin line. That's enough, Captain. I'm done here. I've got a country to run. A great country. The best country. And I don't need this, he said, turning sharply, his suit jacket flapping as he stormed toward the yacht's interior, his aides scrambling to follow, casting quick glances back at Hayes. The captain stood by the railing, his eyes fixed on the water, his expression a mix of defiance and exhaustion, the city skyline looming in the distance as the yacht sailed on, the tension on the deck lingering like an unspoken challenge. If you liked this video, leave a like, subscribe, and help us bring you more exciting stories involving celebrities. Here you will be updated every day on the world of celebrities. See you soon.